Nobody pays anybody $1.4 million if they suck at whatever they do. So let's start there. Christian Roldan is making that much money to play soccer as a professional, which, with all things being equal, with Major League Soccer, with all of its flaws, is willing to pay that guy handsomely because he's not a bad player. We don't want all of our hard work, blood, sweat, and tears to amount to nothing just because the next generation can't figure it out. That's not what we want. We want those kids, guys, men, to be much better than what they are right now. And that's not a bad thing. The process is not selecting the best players. It's eliminating the ones that can't do it. And a couple of guys have eliminated themselves from the process. Christian Roldan is not one of those people, and he's still hanging on. The problem is that these guys are human. And when you are asked to, or you are told that you got a really good chance to be on the World Cup team, and you're playing in a bunch of games that don't mean anything, there is no promotion or relegation. Nobody's getting mad at you. You're making $1 million to play in a league with no pressure. Every tackle doesn't matter. You're actually thinking about it in that process. This is the humanistic part of this. Landon Donovan, what the hell are you doing with that hair thing? Like literally, like it's one of the dumbest things you've done. Just, shave your head, man. Don't plaster, a pelt on top of your head and call it real. And then spew out all the stupid stuff you do. All right, it's that time again. It is Unleashed. Sorry about the delay. I've been away for a little bit, busy with some stuff, working with my academy, which is something that I'm incredibly passionate about. But this is Unleashed. I'm Eric Wynalda, and off we go. A lot of things to talk about right now. I've been angry in the last couple. I went back and watched them. I was just kind of like really angry. For several reasons, and my venom was really directed towards some of my colleagues. To be honest, I'm starting to really get sick of those guys. And the truth is that's the kind of teammate I was. Maybe you didn't like it when I was telling you that you sucked because you had a bad day, but you ended up respecting it because it was the truth. That's the way this stuff works. Like, for example, Landon Donovan. What the hell are you doing with that hair thing? Like literally, like it's one of the dumbest things you've done. Just, shave your head, man. Don't plaster, a pelt on top of your head and call it real. And then spew out all the stupid stuff you do. I don't know, it'd be better. I think you should just go that route, shave your head, and then you and the other bald guy can have your podcast. Maybe that's the way you do it. But you decided to do that thing you did. If you missed it, here it is. This is what it looks like. I don't know, man. That's just not for me. If I lose it, I'm 56. I think it's been a good run. I'm happy with this. And I'm starting to lose a little bit in the back. But if it gets too out of hand, I'm shaving it. Is that so hard to do? No, just shave your freaking head. Might be an easier way to go about life. Leave it to him to take the easy way out. Either way, most of the venom that has come out of me has been directed towards those who have been having a shot at our national team. And there are several topics that, let me turn my phone off to make sure that I don't get buzzed in the middle of this. But there's a couple of topics that need to be addressed because it's very important that people understand the magnitude of what's about to happen. We are going to play a World Cup in the United States of America. And our team, as talented as they are, has given you this thought process that either one, they don't have the right character or enough grit. That's the other one that we keep firing away at. And then there's this entitlement bit where we think that these guys are they can't handle criticism. We got guys like Timothy Weah, calling people evil because they said something about their performance. You have people like Sasha Kleshtin, who I like a great deal. He's actually a pretty stand-up guy who's, redirected the conversation towards the actual issue at hand, and that is their performances haven't been great. And when they are having subpar performances. It is our job as former players and or analysts to be critical and to want more. That's just kind of how this works. It's not like, we're just a bunch of bitter old guys who don't care. We really want this team to do well. We really want our players, maybe even for selfish reasons. I mean, let's say that out loud. I mean, I think that's something that is never said. The guys like me who would be viewed as possibly the pioneers of this whole thing, we don't want all of our hard work, blood, sweat, and tears to amount to nothing just because the next generation can't figure it out. That's not what we want. We want those kids, guys, men, to be much better than what they are right now. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, I just picked on Landon, but I always wanted him to be better. I think he might be a little bitter, though. I see it. I mean, because Christian Pulisic is clearly better than he is or was. And that in itself it's got to be hard for him to deal with. Not because of what Christian is doing at AC Milan and what he does for our national team, and the fact that when this is all said and done, there's a very good chance if he stays healthy, he's going to break all of those records. He'll probably get somewhere in the 60s as far as goals scored, especially if they keep letting him take penalty kicks. I mean, he's gonna get in the 60s. But the bigger problem that maybe guys like me had with someone like Landon is he did take the easy way out. And he could have been way better than what we saw. In World Cups, when we really wanted him to, as good as he was, he could have even been better. And that's just me being, an observer from the outside, saying, as a national team player, to know what it's like to play in a couple of World Cups. Damn, he was good. He was very good. We don't. No one's saying Landon Donovan sucks. We're just saying that this whole idea that you chose the right path for your career was the right one, and you just want to die by it. You're going to die on that hill, and you're going to tell other people that they need to die on that hill too. Don't do that, and then you won't have issues with guys like me, because Major League Soccer, for all that it is, isn't the best way to prepare for a World Cup. Now, that leads me to the real question, and it really is personified at the moment by Christian Roldan. I mean, I've seen it a couple times with players that play in Major League Soccer that get absolutely lambasted by our fan base. And there's a bunch of hate out there. I mean, let's here's some of the hate. I mean, no talent. This guy sucks. He what the hell is he doing starting for the national team? It just goes on and on. Look at this. This is there's a couple of pages of it. Those are just the highlights, if you will. Okay, first let's start with this. Nobody pays. I don't care where you are. Nobody pays anybody $1.4 million if they suck at whatever they do. So let's start there. Christian Roldan is making that much money to play soccer as a professional, which, with all things being equal, with Major League Soccer, with all of its flaws, is willing to pay that guy handsomely because he's not a bad player. He just isn't. Now, is he a national team player? That's the next question. Why is he starting against Australia? Why did this just poke the bear? It got everybody unnerved that this is impossible with all of these players, that he was chosen to play as a starter in a World Cup preparation game, right? A friendly, but still an important game as far as Mauricio Pochettino is concerned. He's starting to build a squad. Now, there's so many things I love about this, because before the game, I was reading all the hate, and I was like, man, this guy's really catching it. Let's see how he reacts to that. One, I don't think he really was tapped into what you were saying out there in Twitter world, but this really was his opportunity. And very seldom, I have to say, very seldom have we seen somebody grab their opportunity the way he did. Right, 2 assists on the day. Haji Wright has a massive day. It's not the best of games. It's a chippy game. It's a dirty game. Let's face it. I mean, Australia chose some pretty crappy tactics on the night, and Christian Pulisic ends up getting injured because of some of those tactics. I mean, you could say, yeah, he pulled his hamstring, and we could go down that route, and AC Milan's mad at Pochettino because he trained him too hard and probably shouldn't have played him. No, it was actually a dirty play. that resulted in him stretching and then trying to end the play, making a pass simply because she should have never been put in that position in the first place. And that should have been a yellow card. And that guy probably should have got a red card. No, I'm not going to say your name out loud because I think you're an asshole. I didn't like the way he played. However, Christian Roldan had a good game. He had a couple of passes near the end because he got some tired legs and he passed one out of bounds and everybody said, "Ooh, look at that. See, he's not good enough." At the end of the day, he's probably going to make the U.S. national team roster. And here's why. He's a good guy. He's a really good human being. And that may not matter to you as much as you think, but it actually does. And it matters a lot to that locker room because Mauricio Pochettino knows that if he's going to build this team, he's going to have to build it around some guys that are going to start. They're going to be stars. But you got to go through the process of thinning this herd. The process is not selecting the best players. It's eliminating the ones that can't do it. And a couple of guys have eliminated themselves from the process. Christian Roldan is not one of those people, and he's still hanging on. What I loved about it more than anything, and it reminded me of an ex-teammate of mine, Mike Sorber, who's a very similar situation. He played in, no one would have thought prior to the 1994 World Cup that Mike Sorber would have been a starter, given where he was playing, what he was doing, what he wasn't doing, and the kind of guys that we had who were playing in Europe that probably thought that they had a better chance of making that lineup than he did. But one, the coach liked him a lot. He was reliable, and he was a good dude. He was a great teammate. And he didn't let anybody down. And if you go back and you watch that game against Colombia, one of the biggest wins in World Cup history for the United States, he may have been one of our best players. And I love that about this story. I love that. Because Christian Roldan, when asked, do you think you've taken one step closer to making this team? He looked at the camera as if to say, what are you talking about? I'm trying to make the starting lineup. He doubled down on himself. And I thought that was awesome. I'm giggling because I don't even think he believes he's a starter. I don't think he does. But that attitude that he brings is priceless. Right? It's worth a hell of a lot more than $1.4 million. Let me tell you that. Because the good news with Christian Roldan is, yes, he can handle it. He can handle a World Cup stage. He can. That's really important to know. There's been guys in the past who we thought could and then didn't. Ricardo Clark stands out. He got substituted in the first half against England. It was that bad. That's not going to happen with Christian Roldan for all the reasons that I just stated. And he has the confidence in himself that he can do this. And I'll tell you this, if in the event that he does get on a World Cup stage, one, it will mean the world to him. And two, his teammates will have his back because he's had theirs all this time waiting for his chance to play. And if he got it or not, he wasn't gonna change his attitude. He was gonna bring it at practice. He was gonna be the smiling face at lunch, knowing that he probably wasn't gonna play. But he was a great contributor to the overall vibe of the team. Now, all those things sound really cool, and a lot of you are saying, well, he's still not good enough. Yes, he is. It's not your job to determine that. It's mine. Sorry. I know what a World Cup player looks like. I know what a world-class player looks like, which he is not. But somebody who can contribute to this World Cup team in the event that he is called upon. And I think this performance against Australia got him on the team. And I'm kind of hoping for that. Now, let's go backwards and explain why being in Major League Soccer is not the best place to play before a World Cup. It's probably the worst preparation. And do your homework on this, okay? Because we go on a long break. Right? And then we don't come back until March and April. And we're going to play right through a World Cup probably. We haven't seen the schedule yet, but my guess is, I hope we do. We just actually finally figure it out that this is not conducive to growth or progress or just cohesion. We need to be a better league when it comes to cooperating with FIFA. We're the only league that actually plays right in the middle of it. Nobody's watching it because we're all watching the other stuff. Everybody else has it figured out except us. We just have an overloaded schedule and we screw it up. But here's the problem. And if you do your homework, as I said, you'll find that there's a lot of MLS players who probably were good enough to make the jump. I think of Chris Armas, for example, who for me was a brilliant player in Major League Soccer. Never really got that opportunity to go to Europe. Pablo Mastroeni might be another one, who never got his chance to go and play somewhere else. But in the event that he got his opportunity, because of his attitude and his skill set, he was a really good piece, and he was able to really contribute. The problem is that these guys are human. And when you are asked to, or you are told that you got a really good chance to be on the World Cup team, and you're playing in a bunch of games that don't mean anything, there is no promotion and relegation, nobody's getting mad at you, you're making $1 million to play in a league with no pressure, every tackle doesn't matter. You're actually thinking about it in that process. This is the humanistic part of this. We've seen this happen with the Corey Gibbs of the world, or the Greg Vannies of the world, or the guy, or even Chris Armas. They paced themselves and said, "I made it. I made the team." And then they tried to push it to the level that they needed to push it to be a part of a World Cup team, and something blew. And that's what happens. And it's virtually impossible when you are telling players that you've made it, you got a huge payday in front of you, and you're going to have 4 games against Austin and Philadelphia and Seattle. You start looking at that schedule like, do I really want to play on turf before a World Cup? Man, I hope I don't get hurt. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. That right there is the problem, right? If you're playing in Europe, for example, and let's say you were in the situation, like if you take from years past, someone like Jermaine Jones, who was playing for Blackburn, right? They were in a relegation battle. Do you think he had a choice? He didn't have a choice. He had to go full tilt every single weekend. There was no choice. That's just the way it works. You had other guys who were trying to win something. I mean, especially all the guys that played at Rangers at that time. They had the pressure of performing, and that's why they came into a World Cup because they stayed healthy, which is a crapshoot, man. You get hurt playing this game, but you it's the old saying, man. When you go in not to get hurt, that's when you get hurt, and you have to. Yeah, a little bit of luck is involved, but you can't cheat your club out of giving them maximum effort. And by giving maximum effort for your club, which is not the case in Major League Soccer, when you get in a World Cup, it's not a big jump. It's not. It's a massive jump for the MLS guys. It's a real problem. You see it time and time again. Could be Ben Olsen. Could be all those guys. They just can't or couldn't do it. And I got news for you. It's not even your fault, guys. Nobody can. Because of the circumstances of playing for nothing and being told that you're about to get paid a lot of money if you just can manage to stay healthy. You're going to give it 70%. And that's what all of these guys will do. Back to the guy. The only guy that I actually think won't do that is Christian Roldan. And that's why he'll make the team. If he stays healthy, he'll bring in the right attitude, and he will be an integral piece. Hopefully, man, I hope he gets some minutes. I'm predicting he makes the team. He's not a starter. And a lot has been said about Musa. Musa's kind of fallen off, but Adams and McKennie will be in that lineup. So will Weah. So will Christian Pulisic, and so will Balogun. I think we're getting really close to figuring out what this team is going to look like. And we figure out who's going to be next to Chris Richards. Sergiño Dest is going to play, and so is Jedi. So there's only a couple of spots left there, isn't there? But once we figure that out, I really believe in this team. I really do. And this team becomes a better team when they have a guy like Christian Roldan, who will not complain when he doesn't start, will bring a smile and a work ethic that is necessary to being a good teammate, thus making us a better team. Congratulations, Christian. As an ex-player, you've impressed the shit out of me, man. And I really hope that this happens for you. Don't listen to the haters. Those people don't know what the hell they're talking about anyway.